Despite tightening imminent, the risk of a bear market is clearly rising. So how much longer might this bull market last?
That is a really good question. I'm a fan of history, and bull markets can last 10 to 15 years, and this one's about 5 years old. There isn't really any signs of a bear market, but I think the market is due for a pretty strong correction, which would be a 10 to 20% drop in values. And what I tell my subscribers, because my subscribers are focused on income, so I go, you know what? We don't care if your shares go down 10% for a year or 6 months, because we're going to collect our dividend every quarter and our dividend every month. And if you got extra cash, when the share price goes down 10%, buy some more of your favorite dividend paying stocks. So when it comes back up, you're earning more income and you have more value. Because historically, I don't work for the short term. You can't predict when the market's going to drop. And that's the nice thing about the dividend focus of investing, is even if the share prices go down, the dividend amounts will stay the same, and you'll get the same amount of cash every quarter. So it's easier to be patient and not get all panicky. So a lot of what I do is I write to my subscribers and go, don't panic. This too will pass.
What types of MLPs will continue to be hurt by the lower crude oil price? MLPs do a lot of different things in the energy sector. They own pipelines, they own tanks, they own storage, they own refineries. The ones that are getting hurt the most are the ones that depend on increasing energy production for their revenues. They're typically called gathering and processing. They're the ones that, when a new well is drilled, they're the ones that collect the oil or gas and process it and send it on down the line to wherever it goes next. But for them, their growth models are based upon more and more wells being drilled. And right now, fewer and fewer wells are being drilled, so some of them will have cash flow problems. A lot of dividend yield stocks still pay very attractive dividends. What we watch mostly is where their cash flow is coming from. To pay real dividends, which is real cash, these companies have to generate cash flow and a growing cash flow every year, every quarter, so they can continue to support the dividends. So you need to kind of dig into the operations of a company and go, is there anything that could stop them from continuing their cash flow? Earlier this year, one very popular, we'll go back into 2014, very popular high yield group of stocks were what are called the upstream MLPs. And the upstream ones, they're the ones that own oil and gas wells. And they were paying very attractive 10 and 11% yields. But when the price of oil fell, they all had to cut their yields, their dividends. They reduced their dividends by up to 60%. So not many of us saw that crash in oil prices coming, but that's the kind of thing that can happen if the business doesn't work out the way it should. Now with oil prices lower, but they've also reduced their dividends, I'm finding them to be attractive investments again at the present time. When I do my interview is I'll show a couple of examples. I'll just give you one right now. It's called Ship Finance. It's a company that yields about 11%. And Ship Finance paid $1.68 per share in dividends over the last year, but only reported net income of $1.24. So it looks like it paid out more than it earned, but Ship Finance has a lot of depreciation and amortization expense that really doesn't affect its cash flow. So its actual cash flow was 1.4 times the dividend paid, even though the net income shows less than the dividend paid. So that's the type of analysis I do for my subscribers. And so in the high yield stock world, you find a lot of companies that operate that way. It's different than what most people think of for traditional stock analysis. So it's a very different approach.